Hi and welcome to the Demalak Cookery channel. So in this video I'm going to be making satay beef. Okay, so it's another Chinese takeaway recipe which has been given to me by a chef within a restaurant. This satay beef, a number of pointers given to me which I obviously want to pass over in the video. The first one is in the preparation of the beef itself. So this particular Chinese restaurant and takeaway chain, they seem to prepare the beef in exactly the same way for a number of dishes. I think there are only 2 dishes that I saw where the beef was prepared slightly differently. The preparation of the beef is absolutely crucial for a number of reasons that obviously has been put over to me. The first is that if the beef isn't prepared properly, it can get quite tough. The second is that the beef can look very pale. From a very fast frying process, the beef can turn out very pale if not prepared beforehand. And the third one is the beef can actually turn out quite tasteless as well. Because it's a very quick cooking method, the flavours within the beef don't really have time to develop. So really important that the beef is prepared prior to stir frying. Second thing is within the sauce. So this particular restaurant chain, they've put it across to me that there are basically 2 types of satay sauce. One is a dipping sauce and the other is a stir fry sauce. They never use a dipping sauce obviously for stir frying, but they said you may find dipping sauces being used across the country in various takeaways and restaurants, and the way you'll be able to tell is that the satay will turn out quite orange. Now the reason they don't use dipping sauce for stir frying is that the dipping sauce is quite oily. So there's creamed peanuts or peanut butter, smooth peanut butter within a dipping sauce, and use that for stir frying, and that orange oil comes out in the dish, and for them that isn't right. So this is actually a stir fry satay sauce recipe that you're going to see today. As usual, a full list of ingredients will be given at the end of the video, so let's have a look at those ingredients now and anything else we're going to need for today. Okay, so a couple of really important steps to ensure that the beef is nice and tender when it's stir fried. One is to choose the right cut of beef. So this is actually a joint called topside. It seems to be quite popular with the Chinese restaurants that I go and visit. And the second thing is how the beef is actually cut. So although this is just what's left of what I've been cutting, it's only a small piece. The grain in the beef actually goes this way, and so to ensure that the beef is nice and tender, what we do is we cut across the grain. So if you imagine the grain running in this direction, we want to cut across the end. So we take our knife and just cut a nice thin piece, and then a good technique which I see in all Chinese restaurants is to lay the piece of meat flat, and then what they'll do is use the back of the knife and just flatten it down. So we actually end up with a nice thin piece. Just show that again. So cut the piece nice and thin, and then just flatten the piece of beef down, and that's how they do it. So while we've got the beef here, we might as well do the second part of the preparation for the beef, which is obviously adding the ingredients. So I want about half a teaspoon of sugar, half a teaspoon of MSG, about a tablespoon of corn flour or potato starch, about 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper. So in all of the Chinese restaurants I go and visit, I have never seen any of them use black pepper. Want a very small amount of sesame oil. So literally about 1/4 teaspoon. For seasoning, about a teaspoon of light soy sauce. And for colour, and before when I talked about the beef can turn out quite pale, so we're using dark soy sauce as a colouring, and again literally about 1/4 teaspoon. Not too much dark soy sauce because it is quite effective, it will turn it quite dark. And we also want about a tablespoon of dry white wine, or Chinese cooking wine if you've got that, even better. So I'm going to do now is just blend all of this together. So once I've got that blended together, I've covered the bowl with cling film or food wrap. I'm going to leave that, just reserve that to one side for about 15 minutes. Right, so I'm going to go through the ingredients for the sauce first. So I've got 80 millilitres of water. Going to be using about a heaped teaspoon of corn flour, and this is enough ingredients for at least 2 adult portions, if not more. I've got a teaspoon of sugar, about 1/2 teaspoon of MSG. Going to be using a teaspoon of ginger garlic paste. So all the restaurants that I go in, the vast majority of them use this brand of satay sauce, which is Jimmy's. The ones that don't either use a different brand, obviously, or they make their own sauce, and a lot of those sauces tend to be what I'm being told are the dipping sauces. So this particular restaurant that I got this recipe from, they use Jimmy's and have advised me not to use anything else. This is, as far as they're concerned, the best one on the market. So I'm going to be using 2 teaspoons of Jimmy's satay sauce. For seasoning, I'm going to be using a tablespoon of light soy sauce. For colour, going to be using about 1/4 teaspoon of dark soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of dry white wine, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, and about 1/2 teaspoon of sesame oil. So for the rest of the ingredients, we've got our prepared beef, about 150 grams of thinly sliced top side of beef. I've got 1 red and 1 green bell pepper, smallish size, which I've sliced. Got 1 small white onion, which I've peeled and sliced, and 2 spring onions, which I've cut into large chunks and taken off the very end of the spring onion and discarded that. So the green leaf end, I've discarded that. 1/2 a small carrot, which I peeled and thinly sliced into sticks. About 1/2 teaspoon of sesame seeds, and absolutely completely optional, I've got 1/2 a medium strength chilli, which I've sliced very thinly. Now the Jimmy's satay sauce does have a little bit of spice to it, but we just like to have that little bit extra. So again, this is adding 1/2 a chilli, completely optional. So first we want to do is to cook the beef. So I've got a well-seasoned wok. Now in this wok is quite a lot of oil, about 2 of these ladles full of oil. In goes our beef. And we just want to cook this through for about 2 or 3 minutes. Now, so I'm going to drain the beef and then just reserve it to one side while we cook the rest of the meal. So I've wiped the wok out, some fresh oil in the wok, just getting that up to temperature. Just pour away any excess. So we're just left with enough oil to coat the inside of the wok. So we get that up to a nice high temperature. So in with our onions. Our peppers. Carrots. And our sesame seeds. We just want to stir fry this for about 2 or 3 minutes. In with our chilies and the beef. Again, just another minute or so. In with some of the sauce. Again, depending on how much sauce you like in your meals. One thing I will say about this sauce is it has a fantastic aroma, but it will get to the back of your throat while you're stir frying if you're not careful. Make you cough. So just bear that in mind. So I'm just going to cook this through now for about a minute or so, and then that dish is done. So there you go, beef satay, another absolutely fantastic dish. I am so honoured and grateful to the chefs around the country that are giving me all of this knowledge and experience absolutely free of charge. You know, they don't hesitate. There's almost like a huge pride in what they do, and they want to share that. So thank you very much. I know a few of the subscribers are the chefs themselves, so hopefully I haven't made too many mistakes. And again, I really appreciate your help with this. Please subscribe to the channel, and as usual, if you've enjoyed this particular video, hit the like button. I am visiting some Indian restaurants next week. I want to improve my skills with regard to Indian restaurant cooking as well, so I'll do a batch of videos again, but this time obviously on Indian takeaway and restaurant cooking. Thank you very much for watching.